हेलो दोस्तों, गुड मॉर्निंग, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब। स्वागत है आपका हमारे चैनल हॉस्पिटल नौकरी पर। सेट एग्ज़ाम को देखते हुए हम क्लास 11 फिज़िक्स के कुछ इम्पॉर्टेंट MCQs आपके लिए लेकर के आए हैं। होपफुली आपने फ़िज़िक्स से रिलेटेड हमारी पिछली वीडियो देखी होगी, उसी से आगे हम कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं। चलिए दोस्तों शुरू करते हैं क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट से। ये हमारे क्वेश्चंस जो हैं ये रिलेटेड हैं चैप्टर ग्रेविटेशन। क्वेश्चन इज़ a body weighs 500 Newton on the surface of Earth. How much would it weigh halfway below the surface of the Earth? 1000 Newton, 500 Newton, 250 Newton, 125 Newton. What will be the correct answer? It's C, 250 Newton. Next question is, the time period of a satellite of Earth is 5 hours. If the separation between the Earth and the satellite is increased to 4 times the previous value, the new time period will become A 10 hours, B 20 hours, C 40 hours, D 80 hours. Correct option is C 40 hours. A missile is launched with a velocity less than the escape velocity. The sum of its kinetic and potential energy is A positive, B negative, C 0, maybe positive or negative. The correct option is B negative. What would be the duration of the year if the distance between the earth and sun gets doubled? Very interesting question, मज़ेदार question है। अगर अर्थ और सन का जो डिस्टेंस है वो डबल हो जाए तो एक साल का ड्यूरेशन कितना होगा, कितने डेज़ का होगा? 1 ईयर। A 1032 डेज, B 129 डेज, C 365 डेज, D 730 डेज. The correct option is A 1032 days. Next question is, a body is projected vertically from the surface of the earth of radius r with velocity equal to half of the escape velocity. The maximum height reached by the body is A r, B r by 2, C r by 3, D r by 4. The correct option is C r by 3. Next question is, there is no atmosphere on the moon because moon पर कोई atmosphere क्यों नहीं है? A, it is closer to earth, B, it revolves around the earth, it gets light from the sun, the escape velocity of gas molecule is less than their root mean square velocity. Here correct option is D, the escape velocity of gas molecules is less than their root mean square velocity. Here next question is, if the radius of the earth were to be raised by 1%, its mass remaining the same, the acceleration due to the gravity on the surface of the earth will be increased by 1%, decreased by 2%, decreased by 1% or increased by 2%. What will be the answer? It will increase by 2%. Next question is, the escape velocity of projection from the earth is approximately, where r is equal to 64,000 किलोमीटर, तो escape velocity क्या होगी projection की? 7 किलोमीटर पर सेकेंड, 112 किलोमीटर पर सेकेंड, 12.2 किलोमीटर पर सेकेंड और 1.1 किलोमीटर पर सेकेंड. द करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज 12.2 किलोमीटर पर सेकेंड. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, हु अमंग द फॉलोइंग फर्स्ट गेव द एक्सपेरिमेंटल वेलोसिटी ऑफ G? Options are A Cavendish, B Copernicus, C Brooke Taylor, D none of these. Correct option is Cavendish. Next question is, if the distance between the earth and the sun were half its present value, the number of days in a year would be. देखिए इससे पहले हमने डबल किया था, अब जो है डिस्टेंस को हाफ कर दिया है, तो नंबर ऑफ डेज ईयर में कितने होंगे? ऑप्शंस आर 64.5, 129, 182.5 और 730. करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज 129. Next question is, the masses of 2 planets are in the ratio 1:2. The radii are in a ratio of 1:2. The acceleration due to the gravity on the planet are in the ratio एक्सेलरेशन का रेशो क्या होगा? 1:2, 2:1, 3:5 और 5:3. Correct option is A, 1:2. Next questions are from mechanical properties of solids. So let's start with it. Question number 1. A body of mass 1 kg is attached to one end of a wire and rotated in horizontal circle of diameter 40 cm with a constant speed of 2 meter per second. What is the area of cross section of the wire if the stress developed in the wire is 5 multiplied 106 Newton per meter square? Options are 2 mm square, B 3 mm square, C 4 mm square, or it is 5 mm square. Correct option is C 4 mm square. Next question is, if a wire when elongation is 2 centimeter in a wire when elongation is 2 centimeter, energy stored is E. If it is stretched by 10 centimeter, then the energy stored will be A E, B 2E, C 4E, D 25E. What will be the correct answer? Answer is D 25E. Two wires A and B are of the same length. The diameters are in the ratio of 1:2 and the Young's modules are in the ratio of 2:1. If they are pulled by the same force, then their elongation will be in ratio of 4:1, 1:4, 1:2, 2:1. Correct option is D, 2:1. Very interesting question and very simple. Hooke's law essentially defines A, stress, B, strain, C, yield point, D, elastic limits. The correct option is D, elastic limits. Next question is, longitudinal strain is possible in the case of A, gases, B, liquid, C, only solids, D, only only gases and liquids. The correct option is C, only solids. Next question is, two wires have the same material and length, but their masses are in the ratio of 4:3. If they are stretched by the same force, their elongations will be in the ratio of 2:3, 3:4, 4:3, 9:16. The correct option is 3:4. Next question is, a rubber cord of cross-sectional area 1 mm square and unstretched length 10 cm is stretched to 12 cm and then released to project a stone of mass 5 gram. If Y for rubber is equal to 5, 108 Newton per meter square, then the tension in the rubber cord is 25 Newton, 50 Newton, 100 Newton, 200 Newton. Correct option is 100 Newton. Next question is, out of the following material, whose elasticity is independent of temperature? Copper, invar, steel, brass, silver. The correct option is B, invar steel. The ratio of the change in dimension at right angles to the applied forces to the initial dimensions is known as A, Young's modulus or modulus, B, Poisson's ratio, C, lateral strain, D, shearing strain. The correct option is lateral strain. Next question is, when the intermolecular distance increases due to tensile force, then A, there is no force between the molecules, B, there is a repulsive force between the molecules, C, there is an attractive force between the molecules, D, there is zero resultant force between the molecules. Option C is correct. There is an attractive force between the molecules. Next question is, the upper end of the wire 1 meter long and 2 mm radius is clamped. The lower end is twisted through an angle of 45 degree. The angle of shear is 0.09 degree, 0.9 degree, 9 degree or 90 degree. Very interesting question. Correct option is 0.09 degree. Next question is, the radii of two wires of the same material are in ratio of 2.1. If the wires are stretched by equal forces, the stress produced in them will be 2:1, 4:1, 1:4 or 1:2. The correct option is 1:4. Next MCQs are from mechanical properties of fluids. First question is, a number of small drops of mercury coalesces adiabatically to form a single drop. The temperature of drop A increases, B is infinite, C remains unchanged, D may decreases or increases depending upon size. The correct option is D, may decreases or increases depending upon size. Next question is, plants get water through the roots because of capillarity, viscosity, gravity, elasticity. The correct option is capillarity. Choose the wrong statement from the following. Small droplets of liquid are spherical due to surface tension. Oil rises through the wick due to capillarity. In drinking the cold drinks through a straw, we use the phenomena of capillarity. Gum is used to stick to surfaces. In this process, we use the property of adhesion. The wrong statement is, in drinking the cold drinks through a straw, we use phenomena of capillarity. स्ट्रॉ से हम कोल्ड ड्रिंक को सक्शन करते हैं तो कैपिलरिटी फिनोमेना नहीं है यहाँ पर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, द हाइट ऑफ लिक्विड इन अ फाइन कैपिलरी ट्यूब क्या होगी? इंक्रीजेज विद द इंक्रीज इन डेंसिटी ऑफ liquid, decreases with the decrease in the diameter of the tube, decreases with the increase in surface tension, increases as the effective value of acceleration due to gravity is decreased. The correct option is increases as the effective value of acceleration due to gravity decreases. Next question is, at critical temperature the surface tension of a liquid is 0, is infinite, is the same as that at any other temperature, cannot be determined. The correct option is A, it is 0. Next question is, when the angle of contact between a solid and a liquid is 90 degree, then A, cohesive force greater than adhesive force, cohesive force is less than adhesive force, cohesive force is equal to adhesive force, or cohesive forces are much greater than adhesive forces. What will be the correct answer? Cohesive force will be equal to adhesive force. Next question is, water rises up to a height of 5 cm in a capillary tube of radius 2 mm. What is the radius of the capillary tube if the water rises up to height of 10 cm in another capillary? Options are 4 mm, 1 mm, 3 mm or 1 cm. Correct answer is B, 1 mm. Next question is, if the surface of a liquid is plane, then the angle of contact of the liquid with the walls of container is A, acute angle, B, obtuse angle, C, 90 degree or D, 0 degree. What will the correct option? It's D, 0 degree. Next question is, two soap bubbles having radii in the ratio of 4:3. What is the ratio of work done to blow these bubbles? A, 4:3, B, 16:9, D, 9:16, C, 9:16, D, 3:4. Correct option is 16:9. These MCQs are from thermal properties of matter. Question first is, absorptive power of perfectly black body is A, 0, B, infinite, C, 1, D, constant. So absorptive power perfectly black body की is option C, 1. Next question is, a body cools from 50 degree centigrade to 46 degree centigrade in 5 minutes and to 40 degree centigrade In the next 10 minutes, the surrounding temperature is A 30 degrees centigrade, B 28 degrees centigrade, C 36 degrees centigrade, or D 32 degrees centigrade. The correct option is A 30 degrees centigrade. Next question is, for which of the following process the thermal conduction is maximum? थर्मल कंडक्शन कौन सी प्रोसेस में मैक्सिमम होता है? ए कंबस्शन, बी रेडिएशन, सी कन्वेक्शन, डी कंडक्शन. द करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज बी रेडिएशन. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, द गुड अब्जॉर्बर ऑफ हीट आर नॉन इमीटर, पुअर इमीटर, गुड इमीटर, हाईली पॉलिश्ड. करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज गुड एमिटर. जो ज़्यादा अच्छा एमिट करता है वो ज़्यादा अच्छा अब्जॉर्बर भी होता है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, अ पर्सन विद डार्क स्किन एज कम्पेयर टू पर्सन विद वाइट स्किन विल एक्सपीरियंस लेस हीट एंड लेस कोल्ड, मोर हीट एंड मोर कोल्ड, मोर हीट लेस कोल्ड, लेस हीट एंड मोर कोल्ड. इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन. ही विल एक्सपीरियंस मोर हीट एंड मोर कोल्ड. Next question is, a cup of tea cools from 80 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade in 1 minute. The ambient temperature is 30 degrees centigrade. In cooling from 60 degrees centigrade to 50 degrees centigrade, it will take 50 seconds, 90 seconds, 60 seconds, or 30 seconds. The correct option is it will take 50 seconds. Next question, an important question. The best ideal black body is a lamp of charcoal heated to high temperature, metal coated with black dye, glass surface coated with coater. D, hollow enclosure blackened inside and having a small hole. Correct option is D, hollow enclosure blackened inside and having a small hole. Next question is, the process of heat transfer in which the heat is transferred with actual migration of medium particles is known as A, conduction, B, convection, C, radiation, or D, reflection. Correct option is B, convection. Next question is, emissivity of perfectly black body is A1, B2, C5, D0. Correct option is A1. These MCQs are from Thermodynamics. Question is, the temperature of inside and outside of a refrigerator are 273 Kelvin and 303 Kelvin respectively. Assuming that the refrigerator cycle is reversible, for every joule of work done, the heat delivered to the surrounding will be nearly, options are 10 joule, 20, 30 or 50 joule. What will be the correct answer? The correct answer is C, 30 joule. Next question is, an engine has an efficiency of 1/6 when the temperature of the sink is reduced by 62 degrees centigrade. Its efficiency is doubled. Temperature of the source is, what will be the temperature of source? A, 124 degrees centigrade, B, 37 degrees centigrade, C, 62 degrees centigrade, D, 99 degrees centigrade. Correct option is D, 99 degrees centigrade. Next question is, at a given volume and temperature, the pressure of a gas A varies inversely as its mass, varies inversely as the square of its mass, varies linearly as its mass, D is dependent on its mass. The correct answer is varies linearly as its mass. Next question is, the transitional kinetic energy of gas molecules at temperature T for 1 mole of a gas is 3/2 RT, 9/2 RT, 1/3 RT, or 5/2 RT. Correct option is 3/2 RT. Next question is, which of the following parameters that does not characterize the thermodynamic state of matter? निम्नलिखित में से कौन से पैरामीटर्स थर्मोडायनेमिक स्टेट ऑफ मैटर को कैरेक्टराइज नहीं करते हैं? ए, वर्क, बी, वॉल्यूम, सी, प्रेशर, डी, टेम्परेचर. करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज, यू नो वेरी वेल, इट्स ए, वर्क. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, Heat cannot by itself flow from a body at lower temperature to a body at higher temperature is a statement as a consequence of conservation of mass, conservation of momentum, first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics. What is the correct option? It is second law of thermodynamics, which states that body by itself cannot flow from lower temperature to the body at the higher temperature. अब कुछ MCQs काइनेटिक थ्योरी से हमारा क्वेश्चन है रियल गैसेस शो मार्केबल डेविएशन फ्रॉम दैट ऑफ आइडियल गैस बिहेवियर. आइडियल गैस बिहेवियर से डेविएशन शो करती हैं रियल गैसेस. कैसे? A. High temperature and low pressure. B. Low temperature and high pressure. C. High temperature and high pressure. D. Low temperature and low pressure. The correct option is low temperature and high pressure. Next question is 1 mole of monoatomic gas G equal to 5/3 is mixed with 1 mole of diatomic gas G equal to 7/5. What will be the value of G for the mixture? 1.5, 2.5, 1.0 or it's D 0. The answer is A 1.5. Next question is at a certain temperature hydrogen molecules with RMS velocity of 3 km per second. What is the RMS velocity of oxygen molecules at the same temperature? A 0.25 km per second, B 0.5 km per second, C 0.75 km per second or it's D 6 km per second. Correct option is 0.75 km per second. Next question is latent heat of ice is A less than external latent heat of fusion, B equal to the latent heat of fusion, C more than the external latent heat of fusion, D twice the external latent heat of fusion. The correct option is it will be more than external latent heat of fusion. Next question is energy supplied to convert unit mass of substance from solid to liquid state at its melting point is called A latent heat of fusion, B evaporation, C solidification, D latent heat of fission. Correct option is A latent heat of fusion. Next question is an ideal gas is that which can be solidified, liquefied, not be liquefied, not be solidified. The correct option is it should not be liquefied. Next question is for a gas the RMS speed at 800 Kelvin is half the value at 200 Kelvin, double the value at 200 Kelvin, same as at 200 Kelvin, 4 times the value at 200 Kelvin. Correct option is B, double the value at 200 Kelvin. Next question is the specific heat of a gas A has only one value, B has two values Cp and Cv, C it's proportional to the square root of its absolute temperature, D can have any value between 0 and infinity. The option is correct one is can have any value between 0 and infinity. Next question is the temperature of a gas is -68 degrees centigrade. To what temperature should it be heated so that the RMS velocity of the molecule is doubled? 357 degrees centigrade, 457 degrees centigrade, 547 degrees centigrade, 820 degrees centigrade. Correct option is C, 547 degrees centigrade. Next question is following gases are capped at the same temperature. Which gas possesses maximum RMS speed? A oxygen, B nitrogen, C hydrogen, D carbon dioxide. Correct option is C hydrogen. Next MCQs from oscillations. In damped oscillations, the directions of the restoring force and the resistive force A are the same, B are opposite, C may be same or opposite, D have no relation with each other. Correct option is C, may be same or opposite. Next question is, spring is pulled down by 2 cm. What is amplitude of motion? 0 cm, 6 cm, 2 cm or 1 cm. Correct option is C, 2 cm. Next question is, one of the two clocks on the earth is controlled by a pendulum and other by a spring. If both the clocks are taken to the moon, then which clock will have the same time period on the earth? Spring clock, pendulum clock, both or none? Correct option is spring clock. Next question is, for a magnet of time period T, magnetic moment is m. If the magnetic moment becomes 1/4 of the initial value, then the time period of oscillations becomes A, half of initial value, B, 1/4 of initial value, C, double of initial value, D, 4 times of the initial value. The correct option is, it is C, double of the initial value. Next question is, in the case of forced oscillations, which of the following statements is not true? A, frequency equals that of external periodic force. B, amplitude depends upon the damping coefficient. C, amplitude tends to infinity at resonance. D, higher the damping coefficient, lower is the amplitude at resonance. Correct option is C, amplitude tends to infinity at resonance. Next question is, in damped oscillations, the angular frequency of the oscillator A keeps on decreasing, B keeps on increasing, C remains the same, D fluctuates. Damped oscillation में angular frequency oscillator की क्या होता है? It remains the same. Next question is, the period of thin magnet is 4 seconds. If it is divided into two equal halves, then the time period of each part will be 4 seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds or 8 seconds. Correct option is, it will be 2 seconds. Next question is, if the length of second's pendulum is increased by 2%, how many seconds it will lose per day? A, 3427 seconds, 3727 seconds, 3927 seconds, 864 seconds. Correct option is 864 seconds. MCQs from the last chapter of physics class 11, that is waves. Question is, a resonance air column of length 40 centimeter resonates with a tuning fork of frequency 450 Hz, ignoring end correction. The velocity of sound in air will be 720 meter per second, 820 meter per second, 920 meter per second or 1020 meter per second. Correct answer is 720 meter per second. Next question is, an observer is moving towards a stationary source of frequency 250 Hz with a velocity of 40 meter per second. If the velocity of sound is 330 meter per second, the apparent frequency heard by the observer will be 320 Hz, 300 Hz, 280 Hz or 260 Hz. The correct answer is 280 Hz. Next question is, with the increase in temperature, the frequency of the sound from an organ pipe A decreases, B increases, remain unchanged or changes erratically. The correct option is B, increases. Next question is, loudness of a note of sound is A directly proportional to the amplitude of the wave, B directly proportional to square of amplitude of wave, C directly proportional to velocity of the wave, D directly proportional to the square of velocity of the wave. Correct option is directly proportional to the square of amplitude of wave. Next question is, the frequency of the note produced by plucking a given string increases as the length of the string increases, the tension of the string increases, tension of the string decreases, the mass per unit length of the string increases. Correct option is the tension in the string increases. Next question is, a resonating column of air contains stationary longitudinal wave, stationary transverse waves, transverse progressive waves, longitudinal progressive waves. Correct option is stationary longitudinal waves. Next question is, when a compression is incident on rigid wall, it is reflected as compression with a phase change of P, compression with no phase change, rarefaction with a phase change of P, rarefaction with no phase change. The correct answer is A, compression with a phase change of P. Next question is, string is fundamental mode of vibration, then velocity is directly proportional to A, square root of tension, B, square root of length, C, square of tension, D, square root of linear density. The correct option is A, square root of tension. So दोस्तों होपफुली NCERT से हमने क्लास 11 के 15 चैप्टर्स के MCQs आपको प्रोवाइड किए हैं और हम आशा करते हैं कि ये MCQs आपको सेट एग्ज़ाम में बहुत हेल्पफुल रहेंगे. So all the best for your exams.